The Divine Comedy by Dante Alighieri. Translated by Robert and Jean Hollander. Part 3. Paradiso. Canto 1. The glory of Him who moves all things pervades the universe, and shines in one part more, and in another less. I was in that heaven which receives more of His light. He who comes down from there can neither know nor tell what he has seen, for, drawing near to its desire, so deeply is our intellect immersed that memory cannot follow after it. Nevertheless, as much of the holy kingdom as I could store as treasure in my mind shall now become the subject of my song. O good Apollo, for this last labor, make me into a vessel worthy of the gift of your beloved laurel. Up to this point, one peak of Mount Parnassus has been enough, but now I need them both in order to confront the struggle that awaits. Enter my breast and breathe in me as when you drew out Marsyas, out from the sheathing of his limbs. O holy power, if you but lend me of yourself enough that I may show the merest shadow of the blessed kingdom stamped within my mind, you shall find me at the foot of your beloved tree, crowning myself with the very leaves of which my theme and you will make me worthy. So rarely, Father, are they gathered to mark the triumph of a Caesar or a poet, fault and shame of human wishes, that anyone's even longing for them, those leaves on the Paeanian bough, should make the joyous Delphic god give birth to joy. Great fire leaps from the smallest spark. Perhaps in my wake prayer will be shaped with better words, so Sira may respond. The lamp of the world rises on us mortals at different points, but by the one that joins 4 circles with 3 crossings, it comes forth on a better course and in conjunction with a better sign. Then it tempers and imprints the wax of the world more to its own fashion. Its rising near that point had brought our morning there, and evening here. And that hemisphere was arrayed in light, this one in darkness, when I saw that Beatrice had turned toward her left, and now was staring at the sun. Never had eagle so fixed his gaze on it. And as a second ray will issue from the first and rise up again to its source, even as a pilgrim longs to go back home, so her gaze, pouring through my eyes on my imagination, made itself my own, and I, against our practice, set my eyes upon the sun. Much that our powers here cannot sustain is there allowed by virtue of the nature of the place, created as the dwelling fit for man. I could not bear it long, yet not so brief a time as not to see it sparking everywhere, like liquid iron flowing from the fire. Suddenly it seemed a day was added to that day, as if the one who has the power had adorned the heavens with a second sun. Beatrice had fixed her eyes upon the eternal wheels, and I now fixed my sight on her, withdrawing it from above. As I gazed on her, I was changed within, as Glaucus was on tasting of the grass that made him consort of the gods in the sea. To soar beyond the human cannot be described in words. Let the example be enough to one for whom grace holds this experience in store. Whether I was there in that part only which you created last is known to you alone, O love who rule the heavens and drew me up there with your light. When the heavens you made eternal, wheeling in desire, caught my attention with the harmony you temper and attune, then so much of the sky seemed set on fire by the flaming sun that neither rain nor river ever fed a lake so vast. The newness of the sound and the bright light lit in me such keen desire to know their cause as I had never with such sharpness felt before. And she, who knew me as I knew myself, to calm my agitated mind before I even had begun to speak, parted her lips, and said, "You make yourself dull-witted with false notions, so that you cannot see what you would understand had you but cast them off. You are not still on earth, as you believe. Indeed, lightning darting from its source never sped as fast as you returned to yours. If I was stripped of my earlier confusion by her brief and smiling words, I was the more entangled in new doubt, and said, I was content to be released from my amazement, but now I am amazed that I can glide through these light bodies." Then she, having sighed with pity, bent her eyes on me with just that look a mother casts on her delirious child, and said, "All things created have an order in themselves, and this begets the form that lets the universe resemble God. Here the higher creatures see the imprint of the eternal worth, the end for which that pattern was itself set forth. In that order all natures have their bent according to their different destinies, whether nearer to their source or farther from it. They move, therefore, toward different harbors upon the vastness of the sea of being, each imbued with an instinct that impels it on its course. This instinct carries fire toward the moon. This is the moving force in mortal hearts. This binds the earth to earth and makes it one. This bow impels not just created things that lack intelligence, but also those that have both intellect and love. Providence, which regulates all this, makes with its light forever calm the heaven that contains the one that whirls with greatest speed. And there now, as to a place appointed, the power of that bowstring bears us, aimed, as is all it shoots, at a joyful target. It is true that as a work will often fail to correspond to its intended form, its matter deaf and unresponsive to the craftsman's plan, so sometimes a creature, having the capacity to swerve, will thus impelled head off another way, in deviation from the better course. And, just as sometimes we see fire falling from a cloud, just so the primal impulse, diverted by false pleasure, turns toward earth. If I am correct, you should no more wonder at your rising than at a stream's descent from a mountain's peak down to its foot. It would be as astounding if you, set free from every hindrance, had remained below, as if on earth a living flame held still. Then she turned her face up to the heavens.